Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Professor Philip Travis. And in this class, we're going to examine history from the emergence of human civilization through the European Middle Ages up till right about 1400. Now, before I start talking a little bit about what we're going to do this week, where we're going in the course, let me introduce myself. I have a PhD in history from Washington State University. My specialty is in U.S. and world history. My specialty as an author is very much in modern history. I actually have published a book called Reagan's War on Terrorism in Nicaragua, which was about the United States' sort of paramilitary war in Nicaragua during the Cold War. I've published several peer-reviewed articles and book reviews. I've been teaching at the collegiate level for 14 years. And ancient history, actually, even though my publishing is in the modern stuff, ancient history is actually a real passion of mine. And I've traveled all over the world, and every time I travel to a new place, I always bring my camera setup and my tripod, and I shoot short films from historical sites. And some of my favorite sites are the ancient sites throughout the world. Several of which we're going to be covering in this class. So I have a number of little short films that I offer in this course that you should watch, and many of them are offering bonus points. Some of them are quizzes, but many of them are bonus points to watch these short videos from sites like Athens, Greece, and the Parthenon, or Roman Pompeii, or the Roman Forum, or medieval castles, or ancient Neolithic sites. There's quite a few of these in the class. I think you'll really enjoy them. Throughout the class as well, every week we'll have an announcement like this. And I'll open up and I will give us some information about what's going on during the week. I will tell us a little bit about history, and I will have a little historical factoid. And the factoid is always worth extra credit, with a few exceptions, but almost always worth extra credit. And all you have to do with that factoid is answer the factoid, either by emailing me the factoid answer or by clicking the answer when it comes up in the screen, if we have that technology available to us. But so you watch the announcements every week, and there's extra credit associated with it. I want to see, when you do the extra credit, I want to see you kind of respond to that factoid. All you have to do is reiterate the factoid. So if I say, Stonehenge was an early Neolithic site in southern England, etc., then you would just send me that factoid no later than Wednesday by midnight, or just answer the question as it pops on the screen. Again, technology depending on what we have there. So every week, watch the announcements early in the week. Send me the factoid no later than Wednesday by midnight. You earn bonus points by doing that. And that's because I want to see us all being, up to date, up to speed in the class early. I don't want us waiting until the end of the week before we start sort of getting involved in the class. So we have a big span of time we're covering in this course, and I'll talk a little bit about this map here in just a moment. But before I do, I just want to briefly reiterate a couple of points about the course. So in addition to video lectures that you'll find every week, short films from historical sites from me, as well as these announcements, we do have readings from our textbook. When you go through this course, the place to go to is modules. If you follow modules, the class will move week by week. So each week on Sunday, I'll open the next week, and you work for that week, and then the following week, I open the next week. And so if you just follow along in modules and keep up with everything, make sure you're logging in and looking at the material in the class early during the week, not late, then you'll stay up to pace on the course. You'll really know what's going on. And I think you'll really enjoy the course, and you'll do really well in it as well. So the grading for the course, we have a series of quizzes. Some of these are reading quizzes. Some of these are film quizzes, lecture quizzes. But we have a series of quizzes in the class. There are 3 tests in the class. You do not have a cumulative final in the class. The last test is just the last test. It's not a cumulative final, so each test covers the material covered up to that point in the class, and tests can be drawn from reading materials, from lectures, from announcements, and so forth. I do provide study guides for the test. Please use those when you prepare. Prepare for the test in advance. On the test, you will have like a multiple choice, sort of true-false section, and then you'll be asked to answer a couple of short essays, 1 or 2 short essays, where I ask you to really engage some of the items that we've been examining in class and demonstrate that you've been paying attention in class and following along in the class. There's 1 paper to write in the course. It's short. There'll be more information forthcoming as we move through the class. The paper's not due for a number of weeks, but you do have 1 paper to write, and I'll have a tutorial video up for you on the paper, so it should be pretty clear, and there'll be a prompt for it as well. I'm looking for you to write a short research paper where you use 3 academic sources. 1 can be your textbook, and you write a short historical essay in which you present a thesis statement and you use historical evidence to defend that thesis statement. So video lectures, video announcements, short films, all part of this class. 3 tests, some quizzes, a paper, and every week, last but not least, before I get to talking about this map, every week we have a discussion forum. And what I want to see in the discussion forum is I want to see you starting your activity by Thursday. You'll see that the due date is Sunday every week, but I want to see you active by Thursday. So to get full credit, you need to start by Thursday, whether it is replying to a classmate or posting your own. And I want to see a total of 1 post in which you engage the question for the week, and then a couple of replies, substantial replies to classmates is generally what I want to see in that discussion forum. It's something that if you fulfill the basic requirements, you're going to get full points. It's worth 10% of your grade. It's really the easiest way to get 10% of your grade. Just keep up with the class, engage the material in a substantial and specific way, and let's have fun in this class. And of course, email me if you have any questions as we're moving forward. Now, what about this map here? Well, this is a map of the ancient Near East. The Mediterranean you see here, the Mediterranean is here, the Persian Gulf, the Red Sea, the Black Sea. Here's Greece, Turkey. This, of course, is the area of what is usually referred to as the Middle East: Iraq, Syria, Israel, Palestine, Saudi Arabia, Egypt over here, of course. The ancient Near East is generally regarded by historians as the birthplace of civilization. Now, civilization is popping up around the world, and this starts to happen in the aftermath of the end of the last ice age. So you start to see the emergence of agricultural settlements in various parts of the world around about 9,000, 10,000 BCE. In the years and the centuries, the millenniums after the end of the last ice age. So there are, of course, agricultural settlements developing in places like China, in places like northern India. So this is not to say that this is the only place you see the emergence of civilization. But when we look at the emergence of civilization, when we look at the development of civilization, we usually look first to the Near East. In the Near East, you find, for example, early agricultural settlements like, for example, the settlement of Çatalhöyük, which is located in modern Turkey, which you see pictured here. Çatalhöyük is one of the early agricultural sort of towns, if you will. And as civilization developed, centering around agriculture, people began to establish permanent settlements. They used to farm, establish permanent settlements, permanent dwellings, and you see the development of ultimately of organized religions, of political hierarchies, of class systems, of specialized forms of work in society, of legal systems, and so forth. Civilization is something that is oftentimes associated with the development of Sumeria, but for thousands of years before Sumeria developed, you had the development of agricultural sort of settlements, sort of agricultural towns, if you will, like Çatalhöyük, which, by the way, Çatalhöyük, located there in what is called Anatolia, or Asia Minor today, of course, the country of Turkey, it grew so much that it actually had a population density that is greater than the most densely populated city in the world today, Mumbai, India. You also, of course, had the settlement of Jericho, and these are developing around 9000 BCE, where you start to see these small agricultural settlements develop. Now, by around 3000, 4000 BCE, you start to see the emergence of what are sometimes referred to as the first civilizations. Sumer or Sumeria, which is circled here in the area that makes up today much of modern Iraq, centered around the Tigris and Euphrates River in the region known as Mesopotamia, or land between the rivers. The Sumerians were one of the first and most important early civilizations, associated not only with incredible mathematical and engineering techniques, but also really kind of fundamental inventions like the wheel, for example. Of course, we will be looking at ancient Egypt. The early kingdoms of Egypt were actually separated between what is known as Lower Egypt and Upper Egypt. And even though it might, in your mind, it might be logical to think that Upper Egypt should be in the north. It should be up here. It is, in fact, Lower Egypt in the north and Upper Egypt in the south. And the reason for that is that the Nile River, as you see right here, the Nile River flows north. And so upper refers to upstream, if you will, moving against the current if you went south. And lower refers to downstream here near the Nile River Delta. And we'll be examining Egypt, ancient Egypt, quite a lot as we look at the unification of Egypt under the leadership of King Narmer. And we look at the Great Pyramids and other highly impressive developments in that part of the world. Now, we're also going to, in this class, in this region of the world, look at the emergence of ancient Greek civilization. I have a film from parts of ancient Greece, like Athens, for example. And ancient Greece is also, of course, highly significant because, of course, it's ancient Greece that you see the emergence of some of the most important philosophical, political sort of traditions, writing traditions, alphabet. Of course, the modern alphabet was influenced from the Linear B script of the Greeks. And of course, Greek society, particularly Athens, has been hugely influential on the Western world. Now, before you saw the emergence of sort of what we think about as Greek society, before you have the development of a Greek civilization here in this region of the Aegean Sea that you see take shape, the classical age of Greece around about 400 BCE, the time of Plato, Socrates, Pericles, the building of the Parthenon, and so forth. Greece was made up really of two different groups that eventually came together as one. One group was known as the Minoans, and the Minoans, who were similar to the early Greeks, the Minoans were centered around the island of Crete right here. And the Minoans were associated with the development of what is known as Linear A, which again is a writing script, a precursor to Linear B. Now, mainland Greece during this period, and this is a period, this is the Bronze Age, as it's known. The Bronze Age is the period from about 3000 to 1200 BCE. Mainland Greece during that period was dominated by a group known as the Mycenaeans. And it's that period that Homer, the author of the Odyssey, was sort of imagining and writing about that period, though he was writing somewhere around the 800s BCE, in between the collapse of the old Mycenaean and Minoan civilizations and the emergence of sort of classical Greece that we all think about with Socrates and Plato and the Parthenon, the Acropolis, Sparta, this type of period. Minoan civilization, though, dominated the Aegean Sea for a good period of time, and Minoan civilization actually possibly collapsed. Some scholars believe it might have collapsed as a result of a volcanic eruption from the volcano located where today vacationers go to the island of Santorini. Santorini is the volcano island of Thera, and the island is made up of a volcano. When you're in Santorini, if you're at Ia, for example, your houses, I've been there, you're looking out at the volcano's caldera, and it is an active volcano. And some scholars believe, though this has been increasingly disputed, some scholars believe that when that volcano erupted near the end of the Bronze Age, that it caused the complete collapse of Minoan civilization. But an early precursor to what will become the Greeks of the Classical Age. And ultimately, by the time you get towards the end of the Bronze Age, the Minoans and the Mycenaeans up here, the Mycenaean Greeks right in here in Greece proper, in the Minoans and Crete, they really sort of kind of began to fuse as one culture, really, in a lot of respects. Another thing we're going to be discussing in this class, and we're almost done, and the reason, by the way, I'm doing all these maps is because we have a map quiz this week. The reason I'm pointing all these things out on the map is because we have a map quiz this week. And so as a result of that, I'm basically really helping you to think about some of the things that might be on that map quiz. So watching this, taking notes on this, is really going to help you prepare to do really well in that map quiz. Last but not least, we're going to be looking at, and of course there's much more we're going to look at. We're going to be getting into the Romans in great depth, the Byzantine Empire, the emergence of Islam, medieval Europe, all of these things we're going to be getting into. But in our first sort of phase of the class, we're really going to be focusing on these areas, this important emergence of civilizations in the ancient Near East, in the Eastern Mediterranean, and today what is often called the Middle East. North Africa, Turkey, Asia Minor, the Middle East, Greece, and so forth. One of the most important one, of course, is Athens, right? Athens is located here in Greece. Sparta, by the way, would be located here on this peninsula that is known as the Peloponnesus. Athens was located here in an area known as Attica. And Athens is highly significant. This is the location of the Greek classical age, the building of the Parthenon. The great philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates are usually associated with Athenian culture. Well, not usually, they are associated with Athenian culture. Architectural marvels, political developments. Of course, Athens was a democratic society. The first historians were really from Athens. And so we'll also be looking at Athens, Greece, this really, really critical place in the emergence of civilization. I know this was a little long here, and that's why I'm trying to help us out to understand the class and to give us a feeling for what we're expecting, but also help us out on this map quiz coming up. So let me know if you have any questions, and let's have a great, great week, and I'll see you in the discussion forum. And all the announcements will not be this long. Be sure to watch the weekly lectures and let me know if you have any questions. Be sure to see the readings and assignments page in modules, the discussion forum, and let's have a great week.